Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ari, and today we're going to have some more stories about our toxic life. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to my channel, like the video, if you enjoy it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now without further ado, let's go. Today's first story. In this story, Opie and his girlfriend, both previously in a close-knit college friend group, started dating after admitting mutual feelings. For years into their relationship, she revealed she might be bisexual, which he supported. Despite reassurances, she became emotionally distant, prompting his concern. Suspecting infidelity, he found evidence she cheated with another woman. Now let's get into the story. I, 24 male, and my girlfriend, 24 female, had known each other for years before we both confessed our feelings to each other and started dating. We were in the same friend group in college, and ever since I met her I had feelings for her, but I was too nervous to come out and tell her about them. She actually ended up drunk messaging me one day telling me that she thought I was cute and funny, and she had a little bit of a crush on me. I made sure to wait until she was sober to respond so I could make sure she was sure about what she was saying. We have been together ever since my sophomore year of college. All of our friends thought we were a great couple. We were even voted as the best couple in our senior yearbook. It felt validating to have other people look at our relationship as something they wanted to work toward in their own lives. After college, we both moved in together and got jobs to start our lives with. I felt like our relationship was thriving for a long time. About 4 years into our relationship, my girlfriend came to me and told me that she thought she might be bisexual. I'm a very progressive person, so I didn't think much about it. I told her that I was there for her to talk to if she needed an ear, and I was there for her when she told her family. Her family wasn't the most understanding at first, but they eventually came around. After a conversation, we discussed what her intimacy looked like in our relationship. I have a lot of friends in the LGBT community, and I've heard a lot about the bisexual arouser that has happened within a lot of media and different communities. I never wanted her to feel like she was missing a part of herself by being in a relationship with a man. She assured me that she didn't feel that way at all. Because she was bisexual, she was happy being in a relationship with me. But with her intimacy, that meant that she was just attracted to women also. A few months passed since we had that conversation, and everything was as normal as it ever was with us. Her revelation didn't have much of an impact on our relationship, though I was doing what I could to educate myself to make sure she was feeling seen and heard in the relationship. My girlfriend started to withdraw herself from me, and I was worried that there was something I was doing that was wrong, so I asked her about it. She told me that there was nothing that I was doing, but she was feeling a little off in general. She asked for a little bit of space, and I gave it to her. She stayed with her parents for the weekend, and I stayed home and waited for her to come back. She needed space, so I wasn't texting her and calling her or anything like that. I waited for her to respond to me before I did anything. When she came back, she was back to her old self. I was happy to see that that little bit of space was enough to help her overcome what she was going through. I asked her about it the day she came back, and she told me that she was just not feeling like herself and needed some time to recuperate from that. I didn't question it any more than that. A few weeks passed, and she was once again withdrawing herself from me. I didn't know what was going on, but if it was something to do with her mental health, I thought that she might need some help or someone to talk to, so I asked her about it again. She seemed surprised by what I was saying, as if she hadn't even realized she was acting a certain way. She just told me not to worry about it. She stayed like that for about a month. My mom came into town, and I took her out to lunch while my girlfriend ended up staying behind at the apartment. She asked me about what was going on with my girlfriend, and I explained everything to her. My mom was immediately concerned about it, but not for the same reasons I was. When I was young, my father cheated on my mother, and she never quite recovered from that. When I explained what happened, my mom immediately associated it with how my father acted while he was having an affair. As soon as she said that, I rejected the idea. There was no way my girlfriend would cheat on me. We had an incredible relationship, and I was always there for her when she needed me. There was no chance that she was cheating. My mom told me that she couldn't be sure either, but it was something that I should keep my eyes open for just in case. She even gave me some tips on how to try and catch her as she was. I went home, somewhat annoyed by the conversation that I had with my mother, but I couldn't get it out of my head. The more I thought about what she said, the more I realized there might be some merit to it. Even if she wasn't cheating, there very well could have been something that she was hiding from me. I didn't know how to ask my girlfriend about it. If there was something that she was going through, asking her if she was cheating on me may only make things worse. Later that night, we both laid down to go to bed and I couldn't fall asleep. After I heard my girlfriend snoring beside me, I snuck around her side of the bed and grabbed her phone to look through it. I felt guilty while I was pulling it off the charger. Neither of us had ever done anything like that before, but it was almost compulsive. The idea that my partner might be cheating on me had completely taken over my mind, and I couldn't think about anything else. I stepped out of the room and looked through her phone, searching for any signs that she might be having an affair. I found those signs in droves. One of the first things that I noticed was that in one of her folders, she had the Hinge app downloaded. Of course, I went on there and I looked through the app, where I saw that she had been matched with several women. I looked through some of the messages, and one stood out in particular. There was a woman that she matched with whom they had both spoken about how they were in similar situations. They realized that they were attracted to women while they were in relationships with men, and they felt like they needed to explore that attraction. They both admitted to being in committed monogamous relationships while also setting up a time to hook up. The first time that they hooked up together was when my girlfriend went to spend time at her parents' house. When she told me she needed time apart, I was upset to learn that she had lied to me about what she was going through and where she was going so she could sleep with another person. According to the messages, they both enjoyed their time together and planned to continue their relationship. I found countless messages where they had been flirting and exchanging intimate messages with each other. I screenshot all of the information that I found and sent the information to myself before deleting it. I knew right away that I was going to be ending things with my girlfriend. It didn't matter to me that she was exploring her new identity. We were in a committed relationship and she cheated on me with someone else. The next day, she told me that she was going to go to her parents' house again. She said that she agreed with me and thought that she wasn't acting like herself, so she thought it would be good to have some time alone again. I just nodded my head and said that it sounded like a good idea. When she left, I followed her. She went to a motel, and shortly after the other girl joined her there. I was able to get a couple of pictures of them kissing in the doorway, but everything else happened behind closed doors. I assumed that if she was taking the entire weekend to go back home with her parents, she would be spending the weekend with that girl. So, I reached out to her boyfriend. I told him about what happened and what I saw, and shortly after he called me. He didn't want to believe what I had to say, but I assured him that what I saw was true and that they were having an affair. We agreed to meet up at the hotel the following day. We were going to surprise them at the hotel and end everything with them. When he arrived, I knocked on the door and heard a lot of shuffling on the other end. My girlfriend opened it with a smile, but when she saw who was behind the door, it quickly faded away. The other girl was in the room lounging on the bed. Her jaw dropped when she saw her boyfriend standing at the door. They tried to explain what they were doing there, but I stopped them and told them that we knew everything that was happening. I broke up with my girlfriend right away and told her that I wanted her out of the apartment. The other man told his girlfriend that he wanted her to move out of his house and that he wanted nothing to do with her. I felt even worse when he asked for a ring back from her. I had no idea they were engaged. I walked away to go to my car and my girlfriend chased behind me, trying to apologize for what happened. I told her I didn't want to hear anything that she had to say, but she tried to tell me that it wasn't cheating because it was with a woman. It didn't make any sense why that would be the excuse she gave. She was having intimate with another person. I didn't care that it was a woman. I didn't think it was hot that she was sneaking around behind my back. She was my girlfriend and I loved her, and she betrayed me. Honestly, I was offended that she would think I would be okay with it because it was a woman. She didn't know me at all, and that was clear. I just drove away and told her one last time that I wanted her out of the apartment. She ended up having to move back home with her parents, who were very surprised that she had cheated on me, to begin with, and even more so that it was with a woman. I felt bad that she was going to have to live with people who weren't necessarily the most accepting of who she was, but at the same time, I didn't want to think too much about her. I just can't understand why she wouldn't talk to me about what she was feeling. Throughout the entirety of our relationship, I had gone out of my way to make her feel understood and heard, and she still took advantage of our relationship and betrayed my trust. Today's second story. In this story, Opie recounts his turbulent 4-year marriage marred by his wife's alcoholism, exacerbated by the loss of her family in an accident. Despite his efforts to support her, she spirals deeper into addiction, eventually revealing an affair with her rehab coach. Heartbroken, he divorces her and presses charges against the coach. Reflecting on the painful experience, he warns against sacrificing for unworthy partners. Now let's get into the story. I was married to my wife for 4 years, but due to her alcohol problem, our marriage was rocky. Before my wife and I were married, I knew she had a thing for alcohol, but I didn't think it would become a problem in the future. She was the type of woman who loved to drink and party. The first time we met each other was at a club. The moment I saw her, I liked her instantly, and I approached her and her group of friends. She and her friends had come to the club to celebrate a birthday that night, and that was how we talked and spent the rest of the evening at the club together. After meeting each other for the first time that night, we went home together because she asked if she could come home with me, and on the first night, we got intimate. My wife said she thought I was one of those men who wanted to tap her honeypot, and that would be the end. But for me, it was different. I liked her so much, and getting intimate with her intensified my feelings for her. In the following weeks, we met at least twice a week, and after 3 months of spending time together, we started dating. By this time, she was freshly out of college and did one of those small-pay hourly jobs until she could get the kind of job she wanted. As I mentioned earlier, I knew my wife had a drinking problem from the first few weeks we met, but I didn't think it would get to the point of seeking help from rehab. After a year and some months of dating, my wife and I married and officially moved in together. Unfortunately, a year after we got married, she lost her parents and only sibling in a ghastly motor accident, and this was when things got worse. Losing her parents and only sibling in one day took its mental toll on her, and she resorted to drinking to help her deal with the pain. When her drinking got extreme, I thought it would only be for the mourning period, but it wasn't. After the burial, months passed, and my wife did not get over her family's demise. She became a shadow of herself, and I tried to comfort her. I understood that she was in a very dark place mentally, but I tried to find a way to help her. Tried my best to support her in every area she needed support. Unfortunately, around that same time, she got pregnant but miscarried the baby, which added to her agony. She also stopped working, and caring for us fell on me. On the days she wasn't drinking, she would be aggressive and get mad over things that didn't require such anger. I once walked in on her making out with one of my neighbors, and I was furious. She was high on alcohol, and he seemed sober. I kicked the neighbor out of my house and reported him to his wife, but I couldn't do anything to my wife because I believed she wasn't in her right senses. Well, I was wrong, because a couple of days later I saw her talking to the same neighbor, and when she saw me coming, she walked away from him immediately. Meanwhile, by this time her drinking got worse. If I gave her money, she would spend all of it on alcohol, and it got to the point where she couldn't go a day without drinking. I got so frustrated, and I was tired too. I was tired of tolerating her, paying the bills alone, and still caring for her. It was already choking me, and I decided to get her help. When I had no other option, I told her I was taking her to rehab, but she was hesitant to go until after a series of persuasion. For the first 3 months she went to rehab, I noticed a significant improvement, and I was glad I was getting my wife back. As the concerned husband I was finally at peace that she had broken out of her bad habit and was finally getting her life together by what was wrong. One day I was at home enjoying some YouTube content on my phone when my wife came home to tell me that she was getting married to the love of her life. When she said this, I didn't pay much attention to her, and I just laughed it off. But when she mentioned her rehab coach's name, my ears raised, and I asked her to repeat what she said. According to my wife, her rehab coach, Ryan, was the one for her, and she told me they were in love with each other. She also said that she loved Ryan because he treated her like a queen, talked to her nicely, and blah blah, and they would get married. I was shocked when I heard that and knew she was going nuts. The Ryan she was talking about was already a married man with 2 kids, so it didn't make any sense. I was also sure she did not come up with the whole marriage thing on her own, so I was forced to confront Ryan on her next meeting day. When I told him everything my wife had said and how they were planning to get married, Ryan said she was delusional, and somehow, my wife heard all of his responses. She had been eavesdropping on our conversation, and the moment she heard him, she came out of her hiding place with her eyes filled with tears. She literally sobbed like a baby, and at the same time, she showed me a video of her and Ryan together in bed and in the bathroom naked. She had Ryan record the video of the last time they were together in a hotel, and he sent it to her. She even said Ryan promised to divorce his wife so they could get married. When she showed me the video, Ryan was so pissed, and he called her names for being dumb enough to believe that he would leave his wife to be with an unstable woman like her, and his words broke her heart. After losing her family, I had never seen my wife cry like that, and at that point, I understood that she loved Ryan as she claimed. She even planned to divorce me so she could be with Ryan, which was heartbreaking for me. I was so mad at Ryan for taking advantage of his client, my wife, and giving him a taste of his medicine. I pressed charges using the video my wife showed me as evidence in court. Sharing this here is easy because the hurt and heartbreak I felt almost shattered me. Despite all the tough times my wife had given me, I still loved her, and I tried to get her help so that things could go back to normal. But she cheated on me in return and even planned to divorce me to be with her rehab coach. Utterly heartbroken after she found out Ryan was using her, and she nearly fell into depression. Out of pity, I had to submit her to a mental hospital for more watchful care, and after she was admitted, I divorced her. Even though it seemed like she was not in her right state of mind, she was in the right state of mind to think of divorcing me. Honestly, our relationship was a serious waste of my time, resources, and emotions, but I'll consider it as one of the lessons of life. I'll give a piece of free advice. Some women are not worth all the sacrifices most men make. Even if you give them the universe, they will still have an excuse to cheat. As for Ryan, I won the court case, and he got a jail term for taking advantage of his mentally unstable client, and the government shut his business down. I often miss my wife, but I cannot use her problem as an excuse for her to break our marital vows and cheat on me.